Here the next topic is of 1 wattmeter method for reactive volt amperes measurement. In this you already learnt how a measuring of a power is going to be done by using of the wattmeter. Here in this case we are going to use only 1 wattmeter. In basics we are going to use of 3 wattmeters to find the power factor. I hope you remember who came from PU based. You already in the first year experiment of electrical. You finished off the experiment how we can going to measure the power by using a 3 wattmeter method. I hope you remember of those. Okay. Here we are going to use of only 1 wattmeter. Here this can be used for a balanced load. This what the construction I am going to show. It's for the balanced load what you are going to apply in terms of your bulbs. The load may be, it may be in terms of your resistance or it may be in terms of the load. Load is depends on the designer which one they are applying, right? In this method the current coil of the wattmeter is connected in any one line, that is this is current coil and this is your pressure coil. This is your current coil and this is a pressure coil. The current coil is connected to the one line of the power and the pressure coil is connected across the remaining two lines. That is R is connected for R line, right? Is connected for the current coil and YB is connected, that is from the supply, the line supply. YB is connected for the pressure coil. This is as shown in the figure. Here the load it is in terms of star and delta connected. Okay, I hope in your ECA you are learning how to convert star to delta and delta to star. And also we learned how we are going to connect the star and delta load to the wattmeter and we are getting the power from this. Okay. Here a small derivation. This is important for 4 marks. Once in the question paper it is asked. Okay. What is the power? That is here it is taken as W, that is in wattmeter. W is going to be equals to current into voltage, that is IC VPC cos the angle between IC and VPC. Here in this IC the current coil, right, that is going to be taken as IC. C means current coil, current. Okay, that is about this. What is the current is going to flowing here? That is IR. For that reason here it is taken as IR. And pressure coil voltage it is connected across YB. For that reason here it is VYB and then cos of angle between IR and VYB. Next, what is the angle? To find this angle, here we are going to assume a star connected. The load what we are going to take, it's of a star connected having cos pi, lagging power factor. Here is the phasor diagram. This is representing our VR. Here it is V by I and Vy. This is your Vyb. And negative of this is going to be taken as V minus Vb and current is going to be taken as IR. Okay. This angle is of 90 degree. The whole angle of this between IR and Vyb is of 90 minus pi. And this angle with VR and IR is going to be taken as pi. Okay. Here from the phasor diagram, this is our phasor diagram. From the phasor diagram, what is our VYB? I can write here as, that is nothing but the resultant of Vy and Vb you will be getting as Vyb. That's what here wrote, Vy minus Vb with the vector sum. Okay. Then angle between IR and VYB, that is IR and VYB. What is the angle is going to be taken? Observe here, this is of a 90 degree minus pi, 90 minus pi. Then W is equals to IR, same I am substituting here the angle, that is IR into VYB cos 90 minus pi. What is cos 90 minus pi? From the basic mathematics we can write here as sin pi, IR into VYB sin pi. This IR and VYB are our line supply only. What is the supply we are going to provide? It's from the line only. main supply only. For that reason, I am writing here as IL VL sin pi. So what I can write, W is equals to VL IL into sin pi, but the total reactive volt, you learnt of this, total reactive volt amperes are going to be represented by using a root 3 VL IL sin pi. If I multiply for both the side by root 3 here and also for the here, I can write here as root 3 of W and also of the root 3 of VLIL into sin pi. Same thing here. This reading must be multiplied by root 3. So I will be writing as root 3 into W is nothing but our total reactive volt amperes. Okay. This is a small derivation. It will be asking in the exam for 4 marks. Okay. This is one topic. Next, we go with the energy. Okay, calibration of an energy meter. How you are going to, what is the equation for energy? If I ask how you are going to measure the energy, the power consumed with certain interval for a time period, how much the energy is, power is going to be consumed, that we can call as the energy. For that reason, we will measure the energy meter here going to be used. Here the calibration of an energy meter means, we are, if when measuring the energy, if there is an error in the meter, for the watt meter we come across what is the error and what are the minimization methods. In the energy meter also we are going to, if there is a error is there in the energy meter, how we are going to reduce that energy. This is a small experimental setup we are going for, so that we can measure the energy. Okay, the calibrating the energy meter means, what is it? I told the same thing here, it is written, find out the error in the instrument of energy by energy meter. What is the calibration means? Finding the error in the instrument of energy by energy meter. That's what the meaning. Here the energy meter has its own characteristics, constant, specified by the manufacturer, because we can't tell the based on the analog device you are going to use or a digital one, the energy meter. If you are preferring for a digital energy meter, almost you will be getting the accurate result, but in manually it's somewhat different. Analog meters are giving small errors in that. For that reason, it depends on the manufacturers how they are going to design, and which relates to the energy. It is going to be measured in terms of a joules, and here a small experiment you are going to do based on the number of revolutions of the disc. For a disc, how many revolutions? For the disc, how many revolution it's going to do, how many revolution it's able to do based on the supply voltage or in terms of a current, how many revolution it is possible. Based on that, we are telling how much the energy it is consumed with respect to time, with respect to how many revolution is going to be completed with respect to the time. Okay, I hope a small example I can give here. I hope you two different batteries you can use of that. Once you create a small magnetic field for the battery, you use your two batteries with the different companies. The revolution, how many it's going to be rotating based on the magnetic field, you can tell the time consuming, how much the revolution is going for. Based on that, here is also we can done. Okay, I don't go for the examples and all, just remember the theory how it is going to be done. Okay, the number of revolution of the disk, based on this we are going to observe our energy. Okay, here a small example. In a theoretical way, revolutions are in infinite range. For a wheel it should be different, right? For that reason, here we are going to fix for the revolutions as x corresponds to the measurement with the energy consumption in terms of y joules. A small measurements it is taken. Next, in this case, we are going to use the revolutions as 5. just for the laboratory purpose. The same here is the theory is there. Just to go through that. 5 revolution I will be taking. So based on the 5 revolution, how much the energy is going to be consumed, that is taken as ER. That is ER is going to be taken 5x divided by Y joules. Okay. Then to have zero error, if I want the zero error, that is the actual energy consumed by the load for the time corresponds to the 5 revolution must be same as ER. Error should be zero means our actual energy, that is ET, should be equals to the which one, by using laboratory setup which I am going to be done, that is ER. If it is both are same, then there is no error, I can tell. If there is an error means then it is not going to be equal. This energy called actual energy assumed, or else it is going to be denoted by true energy, and that is ET. And the experimental setup is going to be taken in the laboratory is of like this. A energy meter is connected and a voltmeter with the voltmeter. This is voltmeter. This is our ammeter, and a load is applied. This is experimental setup we are going to be used in the lab. Then what we are going for various loads, the loads are going to be changed. Okay. For various loads, we are going to take the time required to complete 5 revolution. First, I will apply the first load. Then I will check how many revolution the disk is going to be revoluted. I will be noting of those things by using of the stopwatch for the time. The voltage and current is going to be measured by the ammeter and voltmeter. Here a tabular column. It's going to be taken for different loads. For first load, we will be measuring of the voltage, current, and time for revolution, that is time by using the stopwatch. Then I will calculate what is the ET, true energy, VI into T, that is joules. The same operation is going to be done for the 3 to 4 values. Okay. Then now ER is fixed. ER is fixed by using of the equation for 5 revolution, while ET is obtained practically. ET is going to be obtained practically. Hence, the error is going to be taken as percentage of error is going to be equals to ER minus ET divided by ET into 100. This is the formula we are going to use to measure how much the error is going to be introduced from the disk. Okay. After getting the error equation, we will draw the graph here. This is the graph. Okay. This graph is going to be drawn against error with respect to the current, that is I. When calibration curve for the energy meter, which is this curve, this whole graph is called as calibration curve for the energy meter. When there is no load. When there is no load means current will not flow, I will be 0. Hence the energy, that is ET, is also be 0. For that reason, it will be 0 at the initial position, and ER is also going to be 0. Hence error is also be 0. Next, if we start calculating for the further values, it may go in the positive way or else it may go in the negative way. But remember here, when it is near to 0 means actual power energy is equals to the true power. ER is going to be nearly equals to the ET. ER is nearly equals to ET. When I can tell this, it should be near to 0 only. Within this limit only it should go. If it is not within this limit, Observe here, the limit is going beyond 0. Here in the positive way, here it is in the negative way. Again it is near to 0, but again next it is going to be changing far away to 0. Like this, it's going on varying. If it is like that, if it is not near to 0, then what I will do? I will go for the adjustments in the energy meter or else in the load. Depends where you want to change for the adjustments, you can do of that, so that I can minimize the error. Okay, this is what we call as, that is of a calibration of energy meter. First we will be fixing the energy for 5 revolution, then in the theoretical value I fix the value, then I will go with a practical way approach with the different loads. I will note down the results, then I will go for the error what is going to be occurring by using of this equation, then I will draw the graph for this. Based on this graph, I can tell that whether it is having the error in a larger way or in a smaller way. If it is of in a larger fashion, we can somewhat adjustment we have to do in the energy meter, or else in terms of some design, which design you are going to be using of that. This is what the next topic is of calibration of energy meter. This is very important in the exam for 6 marks. Okay, this is very important for in the exam for 6 marks. Next, we go with the next topic, that is UPF and LPF of the wattmeters. While you are going to measure your 3 wattmeter type wattmeter method to find the power factor, how much the power factor you will be getting in general, we are preferring that it should be near to 1. Yes, our unity power factor, that is UPF means, I hope you learned of this. Unity power factor means the power factor what you will be getting, it should be near to 1. Okay, we are preferring of that, so that what is the current it's going to be applying, it should be higher one. Okay, based on that it's going to be used, but in all the cases the power factor is not going to be near to 1. In many of the application it is less than 1 only. For that reason, here going to be used for the low power factor. Low power factor by using of the wattmeters. We call those wattmeters which will read the low power factor as LPFW, that is low power factor wattmeter. Okay, how it is going to be measured? How a low power factor is going to be measured? Okay, here a small changes we are going to be making in the design of the wattmeter. What are those designs? We will learn one by one. Before that, we just read the first point, what it is indicating for us. The first one is the instrument that measures the low value of power factor. Low value of power factor accurately is known as the low power factor wattmeter, that is LPFW. Okay, the low power factor meter is used for measuring the power of the highly inductive circuit. Low power factor is mainly because of the high inductive circuit. It is also used in the resistive circuit, which has a power factor range. Range is going to be taken as 0.5 to 1. Okay. Then the ordinary wattmeter used for measuring the low power factor gives the inaccurate result. Ordinary wattmeters what we are going to use, it's mainly because for the unity power factor only. When we are going to measure for low power factor, we are going to change some in the design of the wattmeters. That's what the highlighting here. This is because of 2 reasons. The first one is in the low power factor meter, the magnitude, observe here, the magnitude of the deflecting torque on the moving coil is small. Torque, what is going to be introduced, is very small. Moving coil is small even after full excitation of the pressure and current coil. That's what the one drawback. If I use the normal wattmeters to find the LPF, okay. And second one is of the error occurs in the reading because of pressure coil inductance. The error is introduced due to the pressure coil inductance. That is one factor. And one more is of torque, what it is going to be introduced in the wattmeter even though the full excitation of the pressure and current coil. Because of these two reasons, we are shifting for the different designs for the measuring of LPF wattmeters. The next point here is what we can do for the construction. That's what. Some additional features are added on the ordinary wattmeter so that the meter can measure the power of the low power factor circuit. Yes. Okay. Meter can measure the power factor. We are going to some additional features and we are going to change some different additional features, means in terms of design. I can add some changes I can do for the instrument. Here one we learned here the change what we done here. For a resistor we connected a capacitor so that we can avoid the error due to the pressure coil. The same thing we are learning here. The first one, compensation in pressure coil, for it is 1 point. I mentioned as 1. Okay, so it will be easy for remembering. Okay, the first one what we are going for, the pressure coil cannot be connected to the supply side. We already come across. If pressure coil is connected across the supply side, means it can be used for the high power. If the pressure coil is connected across the load, means it can be used for the low power, right? Based on that here, the supply side due to the large error is going to be introduced if I apply the pressure coil near the supply side. That is first point. Next, if pressure coil is connected towards the load, okay, the power consumed by the pressure coil, that PC is nothing but pressure coil, I wrote as PC, is measured by wattmeter, which is appreciable. Here telling us which is appreciable in comparison with the power to be measured, which is to be small. Power factor is going to be small, means our power should be a small only. For that reason, we are preferring our pressure coil should be connected across the load side only. We are preferring our pressure coil should be connected across the load side. Okay. Then compensating coil is connected in series with the potential coil or else the pressure coil. We can write potential coil or else pressure coil, both are same, and is made as identical and coincident with the current coil as possible. Just observe the figure here. What we done, what the point we taken for the pressure coil. This is the pressure coil, the main current coil winding. For this is our main current coil. A pressure coil, this is a pressure coil, is going to be connected. This is a current coil. Okay, we are going to connect a pressure coil in series. The connection, what it is done, it is in series to the current coil. Okay, this is what we call as compensating winding in series with the current coil, and the current what it is flowing, it's going to be taken as I plus IP, the main current with the pressure coil current, and that will be flowing through this series connection. Okay, In this it will be flowing. Next, observe here, the current, it is in one direction. Current, this current, it is in this direction, but IP current, what is flowing, the IP current, what is flowing, it is opposite to that. Okay, the current introduced by I plus IP, I plus IP, the magnetic field what it is going to be generated by this coil, it's going to be opposed by the current flowing of the pressure coil, that is IP. It is also creating its own magnetic field. This is creating its own magnetic field. It is also creating its own magnetic field because of this star in a coil, right? The current what is flowing here is of I plus IP, and the current flowing from the compensating winding is of IP. Due to the direction, just you observe the direction, it is in opposite direction, right? If it is of I plus IP means here it is going to be taken as minus IP. If I add both, what I will be getting? I plus IP. If I add both in series, right, for that reason, if I add, what are you going for? Minus IP. In terms magnetic field we are going for, not in terms of your ECA subject, adding of currents and all, okay? The magnetic field what is going to be taken, because my here is I plus IP, it's in opposite, minus IP it is going for, these two will cancel, what I will be getting? I will be getting as I only, right? Means for that reason, in the winding it will be in terms of your I plus IP and IP current will be flowing, but observe here, it's going to change after this series connection, it's going to change as I1 only. Means only the current is going to be flowing to the load so that it can measure our low power factor. Based on the load, we can measure our LPF due to the pressure coil. For the pressure coil, if I do a compensating winding for the current coil, I can do all this. This is what the design we are going to change in the pressure coil system. That's what here we taken off. Here I plus IP, the pressure coil as possible, that is I plus IP. The resultant field is due to the I only. The resultant field is nothing but it's of this I1 actually. In the figure I1 is there, you can write about it. I1 only. Hence, error due to the pressure coil current is neutralized. From the pressure coil only, error is going to be introduced. That IP is going to be neutralized. So, your I is going to be flowing. So, you can reduce the error. This is one construction we are going to be following. This is one type. Okay. Next, one more change we can do in the pressure coil. How it is going to be done? That is of compensation for the inductance. We are done compensation in terms of a design only, not for the inductance. In terms of pressure coil only we done. Here we are going to change for the inductance of the pressure coil. That is the second one. What is the next point here? It is given. First we go with the first one. That is the small amount of inductance is present in the pressure coil. Yes, it is there. We learned with the structure of the wattmeter. Pressure coil inductance is there of the wattmeter. This inductance causes the error. Due to the inductance causes the error in the reading. The error occurs in the pressure coil is given by, we learned with the error expression, that is Vi sin pi tan beta. Direct equations we taken there. Okay, that error is going to be introduced due to the inductance. What is pi? Pi is the angle between the pressure and the current coil. For a small value of power factor, pi is large. For small value of power factor, pi is going to be large. The large value of pi causes a large error. Large value of the pi is introducing large error in the reading. The compensating coil is used in the circuit for compensating the inductance error occurs in the wattmeter. Compensating coil is going to be used. Along with the compensating coil, what we learnt in the previous, the compensating coil, along with that we are going to be taken, along with the compensating coil, the capacitor is used in the circuit. Then if I use the capacitor, what is going to happen? The capacitor is placed in parallel with the pressure coil resistance. Observe here, this is the construction where we are going to be, this is our compensating coil. Along with this, we are going to connect a capacitor across the resistor. Series resistance is there. For this, a parallel connection, a capacitor is going to be connected. This capacitor eliminates the error due to the capacitor connection. The error what it is going to be introduced due to the inductance, this inductance is going to be reduced by this construction. The compensation caused by the capacitor is slightly affected by variation in the frequency. Above 10 kilohertz, the compensation is accurately held in the wattmeter. Means minimum frequency supply, you should go for the above 10 kilohertz. If you go for below, again a small error is going to be introduced due to the capacitance. The control torque of the low power factor wattmeter, control torque of LPF wattmeter is kept small. The control torque, what's going to be deflecting, right? That it should be kept small so that full scale deflection is obtained. In the deflection system, you should get a full scale deflection even for the small value of the power factor. Even though if you are going to measure power factor as 0.5 or else 0.4, it will be rarely you are going for 0.4 and all. In the maximum is going to be 0.7, 0.8, 0.9 and 1 only. If you are going for this much power factor also, the scale in the deflection, it should be in a appropriate manner and accurate result you should get. For that reason, we are going to do the two changes in the wattmeter. One is of compensating coil, another is of adding the capacitor to the resistor in parallel connection. This is about your LPF and UPF. UPF means in general you have to write for measuring of the LPF what all things we are going to be done. This is very important for 8 marks question. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class.